The disappearance of Amelia Earhart is without a doubt one of the most talked about vanishings ever, discussed alongside other mysterious disappearances like America is a Free State, Jimmy Hoffa, Your Happiness, and D.B. Cooper. Amelia Earhart was a famous aviator, being the first woman to fly across the Atlantic as a passenger in 1928. In 1932, she would become the first female pilot to fly across the Atlantic solo, the second most well-known thing she did. She also worked as an advisor to aeronautical engineering at Purdue University, was an author, and a women's rights activist. Most of this is book report level knowledge, however. What we're here for is 1937. In 1937, Amelia Earhart would start an attempt to be the first female pilot and the first pilot to circumnavigate the entire globe. This would also mark the longest flight in history, 29,000 miles, following a near equatorial path. She was to follow a west-to-east trail, but decided at the last minute to reverse that and fly east-to-west, and she had nearly completed the flight when disaster struck. Her last stop was in Lai, New Guinea. There, her E-10 Electra refueled, and then she and Fred Noonan, her navigator, would take off for one final time. Their next stop was supposed to be Howland Island. As they approached, those on Howland Island received transmissions from Earhart, but it wasn't a two-way connection, and Earhart couldn't hear them. Earhart and Noonan couldn't receive a warning about severe headwinds, something that would drastically affect fuel economy. Their Electra, basically being a modified 1,000-gallon flying gas station, was understandably in a little bit of a pickle. As the final flight ensued, Earhart and Noonan would climb to 10k miles, also extremely bad for, fuel economy. This would effectively reduce the Electra's flight time from 24 hours to 20. This rise was also likely due to clouds and storms, meaning they couldn't see the sea and thus Howland Island. The USS Itasca was supposed to guide them, but as mentioned, a two-way connection couldn't be established, leaving Earhart and Noonan flying blind in an area where a 1-degree mistake meant death. As night turned to dawn and then day, the USS Itasca heard the Electra growing closer, so close that the radio operators went outside to try and find the plane. They failed. Earhart's last panic transmissions were describing that they were traveling along the right coordinates, but must have missed the Itasca. Then they were never heard or seen again. Obviously, there was speculation about this sad happening. Earhart was nothing short of a legend, breaking stereotypes, winning, putting the cuck Charles Lindbergh in his place. Her death was enough of a tragedy that in 1937, FDR approved a $4 million search effort. It would ultimately fail, and Earhart and Noonan were declared lost at sea. But what exactly became of them? The most popular theory, and also most likely the correct one, is that the Electra, after a grueling flight unable to find Howland Island, was forced to ditch over the ocean. It seems pretty likely. Plane was going to run out of fuel. Plane misses stop. Plane runs out of fuel. Pilots lost to sea. It's reasonable, it's simple, and it's by far the most possible. But it's a sad end for a hero, and we wouldn't want Dearest Amelia's book to end that way. Surely something else happened and she lived, right? Probably wrong, but theory 2. Gardner Island. Gardner Island is a mere 60 miles past Howland Island, and in low tide the coral reefs would be a perfect emergency runway. With this theory, there's a lot of back and forth. Obviously, where's the damn plane if this happened? No one can find the plane, but we do have an aluminum plane part that might be part of the Electra. We can't find the bodies, except maybe we did. Back in the 40s, a British colonial officer looking for more spices to not use found a partial skeleton. The skeleton was inspected by a doctor who quickly said, 5-foot stocky European man, now throw those damn bones back to the bone-eating coconut crabs! Of course, later analysis of the results showed that the bones could have also belonged to a 5'8" woman, and wouldn't you know it, Earhart was 5'8". The back and forth of no and maybe in this theory is extensive, and I won't waste your time. People often espouse this theory as if they came into the Holy Grail and their seed birthed truth, but it is at best highly unlikely due to a complete lack of solid or even more than barely applicable circumstantial evidence. The next theory is where it starts to get weird. Theory 3 is Japanese capture theory, suggesting that Earhart and Noonan did wreck, but with this lonely part of the world basically being Japanese, they took the pilots prisoner, because America and Japan were totally enemies in 1935. I have a hard time imagining that it went like,
Ugh, thank God you found us, eh? It was getting real close out there.
Personally, I think this theory only exists because of post-World War II speculation. It gets stranger from here with Theory 4, though, the faked death theory. This theory argues that the American government had Earhart fake her death so she could become a spy. Because again, America in 1937 was beefing with everyone. Those hands were rated E for everybody. Funnily enough, there is a book who names one woman named Irene Craigmile Bolam as actually being Earhart. I don't even understand why someone wrote that book. Like, did they just...
Why, this book says I'm Amelia Earhart. This is just swill, hogwash, defamation, even.
Don't you fucking lie to me. Don't you fucking lie to me. I know what you did.
The theories can and do get weirder, so I'd like to propose a wormhole theory. That's right, Earhart got sucked into a wormhole and thus a different dimension. The Thai mussy caught her slacking, slurped her in. Jokes aside, though, the truth is, we will never know what became of Amelia Earhart. Her last flight going straight into the pages of the history books. Alright, and that does it. We are done with this video, but don't leave just yet, because I still have more talking to do. This is Entry 9 of the Unsolved Mystery Iceberg, a 1,000 entry piece of colorful words I can't say because I need my YouTube money that I am covering. There are uploads every day, and if you like that, well, go ahead and just subscribe. Every single entry is getting its own video, and I am putting myself through hell and more to make this. So, if you're new here, thank you so much for watching. If you're old here, thank you so much for watching. If you aren't subscribed, go ahead and just do it. It's completely free, helps me pursue my dreams, and you can always undo it later. And now I'm going to get into the thanking part of the video. Thank you to my, at the time of recording, 4 patrons. AJ, That's Insane Henry, David Height, and Sumi. It is with your guys' help that I'm able to do cool stuff like keep my lights on, buy lunch while I'm at work, and pay for gas. Also, with the Patreon, the first merch ever has just shipped as I'm recording this video. That's right, so to my dearest patron AJ, you are now the first man to ever own another pen merch. For everyone else, if you want to join the Patreon, it is always down in the description. There's a $1 tier, there's a $3 tier, and there's a $9 tier that comes with all of the merch. The $9 tier, that is. It just helps me out, and if you're in a financial circumstance where you can't, don't feel any pressure to. I like to keep it fair to where everyone who is subscribed to my channel sees all the same things. But anyways, that is enough of me yapping. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, have a great time. I'll see you tomorrow. Memento Mori. Memento Mori.